Had one of those days where just everything goes wrong. In the course of making coffee this morning, I made two pots of hot water because I kept forgetting to put the basket and filtering coffee back in. And I did it twice. I made two big pots of hot water. So that would be indicative of a Monday, which it is for me. But for you guys, it's Friday. So not to drag this on any further, let's get ready for a five fast Friday. There, I got it that time. So what we're going to look at is 5 fast Ferrum Forge finishes. Because they're all fancy. Lots of Fs. I'm just going all Fs today. So turn down the volume. Here comes a little bit of music. Would I be if I was going to talk about Elliot and Christopher's knives and not have them in the background? So this is Ferrum Forged Knife Works. As you can see, I have a TMS titanium hat and glasses as well. These guys are really good friends of mine, some of my favorite people in the knife world. I wish we got to hang out. So this is a throwback to something we used to do, which was a Ferrum Friday. So I figured, why not do 5 Ferrum Forged knives for a Ferrum Friday, since I haven't done one for a while. So what Ferrum Friday was that was a time where we would used to just go to the shop on Friday and we'd hang out, and it turned into happy hour. There was a brewery across the street, a lot of late evenings just hanging out, having fun, drinking beer, and just enjoying talking about knives and doing stuff like that. So haven't got to do it in a while, so I thought I would provide you guys with 5 fast Ferrum Forge flippers. 5 fast Ferrum Forge fancy finishes. That's what I think this one's going to be. But I do believe it's just going to be 5 fast Ferrum Forge for the actual title. We'll put all that other stuff in. Too many Fs. I think it's going to throw off the algorithm. But all right, without pontificating any further, let's turn this around and take a look at 5 of my favorite Ferrum Forge knives that have fancy finishes. I'm just going to keep throwing in more Fs because it's just a lot of fun. But let's do it real fast. All right, since we are doing 5 Ferrum Forges with fantastic finishes, we're going to work our way from fairly flat to freaking fantastic through this fast 5. Lots of F's, just going to keep it going. So this is, because it's Ferrum Forge FF, so this is my Ferrum Forge Mordax. Now, this is the big brother of a knife that I had that I truly, truly love. This one's just a little fancy. Got a fancy finish, nice blue. These are their in-house builds. There were only ever a maximum of 200 of these, and this was just one of the standard flat finishes that you could get. This was just a standard finish. You can see blue anodized titanium hardware, gives it a nice little pop. What makes this a little fabulous is this fancy finish that's on it. Just keep throwing the F's, Mike. Keep dropping that F-bomb. Ha, ha, ha. So this is a finish I like to call gunmetal. This was a simple blast and then an ultra fine tumble. It gives you a unique finish that is shiny, but still matte. It's semi-gloss, I guess, is what we would call it. But this is my Mordax. This is a great, great knife. You hang on just a second. I'll go get its baby brother so you can see it in comparison. There you go. There's its baby brother, the Mordax, or I mean, so the NTAC, and you can see much more of a worker finish on this. That's why this isn't in the fancy. I did do some fancying on it, but this does have a fancy finish. It got tumbled for, I want to say that we just throw that NTAC on the ground like that. I think this got tumbled for 2 or 3 days in the fine medium and got us that finish. I like it. It came out great. It's beautiful. The action on it is great. And I love this knife, even though a lot of people say it's too thick, it's too bulky. It is a relatively thick knife, but it is just, it's done so well, and all of their knives are simply awesome when it comes to the action and everything you get on them. They have a specific feel, always comfortable, no hot spots. So there you go. There's our first one, the Mordax by Ferrum Forge Knife Works. So this one's a little bit fancier. This is my Ferrum Forge Fortis. A lot more F's here. The only thing that's been done to this, honestly, the only thing I did was add a little black ceramic just for a touch of pop. Black pocket clip, black hardware, black ceramic down in these grooves and in the logo. So the big fancy piece on this is that this blade is a little more different even than the one you saw before. The finish on this one is much more polished. This was done over a long period of time in, I think they said, synthetic sapphire balls. It gave it something that you really can't, let's see if we can get in on it. You can see that there is almost a texture or a grain pattern underneath, and it's really hard to keep this one clean. That's why there's a rag here. I'll try and wipe this off again real quick. It fingerprints so crazy, but you can see underneath that polish, there is a grain structure that you can see that looks like a super polished stone wash. Really made it attractive. I loved this knife. It was a knife, I honestly can say that this knife, I was wiping off fingerprints, not blowing my nose. I can honestly say this was a grail knife. This is one of 2 knives that I knew I had to have in my lifetime. These 2 knives right here. And so I think that's why when I got this one, and I had this one already, that it kind of hit that wants it button, and I just don't have it as much anymore. But this one is number 2, Ferrum Forge Fortis. Super nice knife. Came in 2 milling patterns. This was a gift from The Hobbit. This totally is a grail for me. It doesn't get carried very often. This is one that spends a lot of time in the case, mainly because if I use it, I can't duplicate that finish. It would be really, really hard to duplicate that finish, and I really, really love this knife. So there you go. Number 2, the Ferrum Forge Fortis. Further upping the fanciness of these Ferrum Forge flippers is my Ferrum Forge Archbishop. Now this is a one-off. There was only one that was done like this. This is done in a black 2-tone satin and black ceramic. 2-tone here with this having been textured and then anodized green. Has held up incredibly well for the amount of carry and use that this knife gets. Pocket clip was textured and done green as well. The ceramic on this has held up incredibly well. You can see there are some spots where it's starting to wear. And I actually anodized those bronze, but it's been worn off. Everything about this was cool. I came into the shop the day that this knife got finished. Hadn't even been sharpened yet. I told Elliot, yeah, don't even put that on a website. That's coming home with me. And so I brought him back the money the next day. He did not even put an edge on this except for just a belt edge. Like he did it on a 220. I was like, I'll take it home and I'll sharpen it myself. Just do a belt edge for me. And yeah, super awesome. This is one of my favorite knives they've ever done as far as utilitarian use. Not as thick as a lot of their other knives. Nice blade shape, super good action, comfortable to carry. Deployment on it's great, and then in hand, it's just a dream, and you have this nice broad blade where you can do a lot of work. Carries great, no hot spots on it. Like I said, ergonomics on Ferrum Forge knives is typically amazing. They only actually have one design I really don't like, and then one I'm kind of just on the fence about. But we won't talk about that. So there is number 3, the Ferrum Forge Archbishop. And so let's get out. The next 2 are freaking fantastically fancy. All right, we're not going to go with all the F's. It's getting hard to keep up in my head. But this one is, as far as their knife designs, I find this one the most aesthetically pleasing. The blade shape on this with all the facets, all the angles, all the huge aperture, and then just in hand, it is really comfortable. Now, this is a full-on Ferrum Forge Maker's Choice spinner. This was all hand carved with a Dremel. The blade was then ceramic coated. Now, I did recoat the blade. That's why you're getting some weirdness. I was unhappy with how I coated it, but I tried to do a 2-tone, and I wound up with some issues with it. But this one was meant to be, done like a Marlin. This, as a matter of fact, had the name of the Marlin. They would put names on their Maker's Choice knives. They called this one the Marlin, as you can see. And like I said, all of that is hand carved with a Dremel. That's not done with a laser or anything like that. This was all hand carved with a Dremel by hand, and not even one of the nice ones with the cable. Like this is just like the motor sitting right above his hand with a 1/32 ball end mill to do all those fish scales. And then Christopher did all the anodizing, which truly does not come through. It is a 2-tone, just like the front. It just does not show on camera near as beautifully as it does in real life. And you look at it and you're like, yeah, I get it. It looks like a marlin. So there is number 4, the Ferrum Forge Mike Gavick Gavco collab Ferrum Forge spinner. You guys knew if we were going to talk about Ferrum Forge knives that the last one we would talk about, the fanciest one, the most elaborately carved, in my opinion, is my Master Blaster, which was a collaboration between Les George and Ferrum Forge Knife Works. Mine has one of the rare double marked blades where it says Les George on both sides. A lot of them only had it on one. This was completely hand carved. This was one of the last Master Blaster blades. And Nico, and this is another gift from a handful of really amazing friends. Elliot said he would do it, did not charge them what he should have. Carved this in a fashion that I knew I would like. This has gotten so much carry time. You can see how worn the ceramic on this blade is, which it's hard to wear it. This thing gets carried all the time. Action on this is amazing. It's gorgeous in hand. And the fact is, it does not, none of the carvings on Elliot's knives ever have affected the way they feel in hand. That is a full copper inlay. That was a milled area. Elliot put a copper inlay in, pounded it in, pressed it in, and then carved it, left it proud, and then carved it in to marry in with the actual scales, then carved the scales. Completely different pocket clip. I have another Master Blaster that was done in the same fashion, which is Nico's. We're going to show that as well as an honorable mention because mine was the first one. You can see even my pocket clip's a little different. My thumb stud, or my flipper tab's a little different. But Nico's was done for a friend of ours, and it was done a little bit differently, but it was done in the same fashion. Came out great. I personally find mine a little better. This one is going to be a guest blade in a video where we remove a chip for the sharpening tutorial because as you can see, there's a significant chip. So just to throw that one in, these were each one hand carved. This is insanely detailed, comfortable. The action on this is great. I have to say this is one of the smoothest knives I own, probably one of the most carried knives I own. The only knife I think that gets as much pocket time as this does is my Norseman. And a lot of times they're in my pockets together. So there you go, guys. There's number 5. And that was 5 fast. Oh, crap. I did it again. That was 5 fast Ferrum Forge fancy finishes for your Fast 5 Friday on this glorious of days. Well, Monday for me, but Friday for you. So go check out any hashtag Ferrum Friday posts and see all the cool stuff that people put up on Instagram. All right, guys, let's turn this around and do some final thoughts. Yo, guys, that was 5 fancy Ferrum Forge knives. Wait, no, it was 5. It was, hang on. So there you go, guys. That was 5 fast Ferrum Forge fancy finished knives for your virtual Ferrum Friday. Lots of F's in this one. Gotta get it's if you're dyslexic, it's gonna throw you for a loop. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the content. I enjoyed making this one. These are 5 of my favorite knives that will probably never leave my collection for multiple reasons, but they're great. And the production knives are every bit as good as their in-house mid-tech builds. Of course the dogs are gonna start barking now, but we can edit that in post. I know how to do it now. I don't have to just stop. So, guys, if you like the content, please give the video a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Please try to tell me why. I can't change any of the stuff you guys don't like if you don't tell me what it is you don't like. There are multiple ways that you can support the channel if you would like. If you do like the content, it's a lot of times as simple as what I do with showing channels in the background, which is basically just provide that content to someone I think would enjoy it. If you do that, it helps out. It pushes the channel up through the algorithm. Likes and shares and things like that all help. But if you want to support the channel financially, there's a lot of ways you can do it. I have a membership tab down below. It's a link down below that gets you in on memberships, which depending on tier gets you into exclusive content, sharpening tutorials, giveaways, early access to videos, exclusive content such as B-roll and things like that. And it's based on tiers, so check that out. I also have Ember Shirt Co. and my merch store. They're all on one site. There is a coupon code. If you either go to Ember Shirt Co. or to my merch store link, you can use that code to save you 10% at checkout. It is CrazySharp, all one word, capital C, capital S, CrazySharp, all one word, 10% at checkout. And then I have all kinds of affiliate links down below. If you're gonna do some Amazon shopping, I'd appreciate it if you just used one of my affiliate links to get in as a portal, and then everything after that basically gives me credit for any shopping you do, and it still works through my affiliate stuff. So it doesn't add any price to you at checkout, but it definitely does help out the channel, and I'd really appreciate it. So guys, that's it. I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Keep it clean in the comment section. It makes it so much easier for me and the Hobbit to moderate the channel if you guys keep it clean down there. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and I will see you in the next video.